for your company, but at the end of the year, your boss is only ever going to give you a 5 or 10% pay rise. Most of us are taught that the only way to double our income is to work double the hours. But if you look at the maths, there is an incredibly obvious problem with that strategy. There is a hard ceiling on how many hours you have in a day and a hard floor on how little sleep you can actually survive on. If you want to build true, lasting wealth, you have to break this cycle. Today we are going to look at the ultimate wealth multiplier. And I need you to stick around right until the end of this video, because I'm going to reveal the exact strategy that modern millionaires use to decouple their time from their income. A specific approach that requires absolutely zero permission to start and can be built from your spare bedroom. Welcome back to Quiet Wealth. I'm Amara, and I am so glad you have joined me today. If you are new to our community, I am a financial educator, and on this channel we focus entirely on playing the long-term, behind-the-scenes wealth game rather than the exhausting, highly visible status game. Just a quick reminder before we dive in, everything we discuss today is strictly for educational purposes only. I'm not here to give you formal financial advice, but rather to share the honest psychological frameworks you need to make empowered decisions for your own life. Today I'm going to be slightly more direct with you than usual, because we need to completely dismantle the way you think about your career and your earning potential. We are going to expose what I call the linear income trap, explain the concept of leverage, and show you exactly how to build what is known as permissionless leverage so you can genuinely make money while you sleep. Let us start with the fundamental flaw in how society teaches us to earn a living. From the day we leave school or university, we are handed a very specific blueprint: trade your time for money. Whether you're on a £30,000 salary or a £150,000 salary, the mechanics are exactly the same. You trade an hour of your life and you get paid for an hour of your life. The moment you stop trading those hours, whether you want to take a month off, you fancy traveling, or you simply fall ill, the income completely stops. This is what is known as a linear income. Your output is directly tied to your input. And the problem with linear income is that you can never truly be free because you are permanently tethered to the clock. When I worked in the financial sector, I saw people earning extraordinary sums of money, but they were exhausted, stressed, and completely chained to their desks. They had high incomes, yet they had absolutely zero real wealth, because true wealth is not just about the numbers in your bank account. It is about having options. It is about having the freedom to spend your time exactly how you choose. Now, here is something that rarely gets talked about. Even those who try to escape the trap by chasing promotions or switching to a higher-paying role often find themselves on what psychologists call the hedonic treadmill. Their income rises, their lifestyle inflates to match, and they end up just as trapped as before, only now with a bigger mortgage and a more expensive car on finance. The cage gets more comfortable, but it is still very much a cage. If you want to shrink the decades it takes to become a millionaire into just a few short years, you need to play a completely different game. You need to stop asking, how can I work harder? And start asking, how can I multiply my effort? And the answer to that question comes down to one single powerful word: leverage. To understand how to decouple your time from your income, we have to look at the different types of leverage that exist and how they have evolved over time. In the brilliant book, The Almanac of Naval Ravikant, which compiles the wisdom of one of the world's most successful investors, Naval breaks down how wealth is actually created. He explains that the real path to wealth is not about trading your time. It is about using leverage so that your effort is multiplied far beyond the hours you personally put in. Historically, there have been two main types of leverage available to people. The first is labor leverage. This simply means hiring other people to work for you. It is the oldest form of leverage in the book. You start a company, you hire 10 employees, and suddenly you are benefiting from the output of 10 people whilst you work your standard hours. But labor leverage is incredibly messy. Managing people is difficult. It requires significant overheads, wages, office space, pensions, employers' national insurance, and most importantly, it requires permission. People have to actively agree to work for you, and you often need regulatory approval or professional qualifications just to get started. The second type is capital leverage. This means using money to make more money. This was the dominant form of wealth creation throughout the 20th century. You use capital to buy property, to build factories, or to invest in the stock market. Whilst capital leverage scales beautifully, it has a massive barrier to entry. You need money to start. And if you do not have the money yourself, you need permission. You have to convince a bank to give you a loan, or persuade wealthy investors to fund your idea. Here in the UK, with property prices where they are today, even getting on the first rung of the buy-to-let ladder can feel virtually impossible without a substantial deposit. For a very long time, if you could not get permission to hire people or permission to borrow money, you were stuck playing the linear game. You were stuck trading your precious hours for a salary, watching the years tick by. But in the modern economy, and this is the part that genuinely excites me, the rules have completely changed. A third type of leverage has emerged, and it is available to virtually everyone, which brings us perfectly to the core of today's lesson. Thank you for sticking with me to this point, because this is the concept that can completely rewrite your financial future. The ultimate wealth multiplier, the mechanism that allows solo creators, writers, developers, and everyday thinkers to build substantial fortunes, is what Naval Ravikant calls permissionless leverage. Permissionless leverage comes in two forms: code and media. You do not need anyone's permission to write a piece of software, to record a podcast, to film a YouTube video, to publish a newsletter, or to create a digital product. You do not need a manager's approval, you do not need a bank loan, and you do not need to hire a massive team. You can sit in your bedroom with a laptop and an internet connection and create something that has the potential to reach millions of people whilst you're fast asleep. This completely shatters the time for money trade-off. When you create an asset using code or media, the work is front-loaded. You do the graft once, and then that asset keeps working for you indefinitely. Let us look at the cold, hard maths of how powerful this is. Imagine you spend 100 hours writing a detailed PDF guide, creating an online course, or designing a digital template that solves a very specific problem for people. That is 100 hours of unpaid, focused work. But once it is finished and listed online, whether 10 people buy it or 10,000 people buy it, your effort stays exactly the same. There is no extra shipping, no extra printing, no inventory to manage, and the marginal cost of each additional sale is effectively zero. If that digital product earns you just £500 a month, that is £6,000 a year for hours you have already worked. In year 2, it still earns £6,000. By year 5, you have earned £30,000 from that initial 100 hours of effort. That means you have effectively paid yourself £300 an hour, and that number simply keeps growing the longer the asset is live. No salary on earth pays like that, because no salary is completely detached from your time. When you build permissionless leverage, you are essentially building an army of digital employees that work for you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and they never ask for a pay rise. They never call in sick, and they certainly never ask for a holiday. Now, I want to put this into a broader context, because this is not just theory. Think about some of the biggest personal brands in the UK right now. Many of the most successful financial creators, fitness coaches, and business educators started with nothing more than a phone camera and a free social media account. They built audiences through consistent, valuable content, and then they monetized that attention with digital products, courses, memberships, and sponsorships. They did not need a single person's permission. They just started. So how do we actually cross this gap? How do you transition from being a linear earner to someone who commands permissionless leverage? Here is your actionable step-by-step roadmap to start building your quiet wealth today. Step 1. Find your specific knowledge. What is a problem that you have already solved for yourself that other people are still struggling with? It does not need to be a grand, world-changing invention. Look at the things you do in your day job, the hobbies you obsess over, the spreadsheets you have built to organize your own finances or meal plans. Whatever comes naturally to you but looks like incredibly hard work to someone else, that is your niche. And here is the beautiful thing: specific knowledge is often something that cannot be taught in a traditional classroom. It comes from your unique combination of experience, curiosity, and personality, which means nobody else can compete with you on it. Step 2. Choose your medium. You do not need to be a software developer who writes code. Media is just as powerful. If you're a confident speaker, start a podcast or a YouTube channel. If you're better with the written word, start a newsletter or write an ebook. If you're a visual thinker, create templates, infographics, or design assets. The medium does not matter as much as your consistency. The goal is to package your expertise into a format that can be consumed by an unlimited number of people without requiring any extra time from you once it is published. Step 3. Accept the reality of so-called passive income. There is a massive myth online, particularly in the get-rich-quick corners of social media, that passive income means you sit on a beach sipping cocktails whilst money magically flows into your bank account. Let me be brutally honest with you. Nothing is truly passive from day one. You have to put in the hours, the sweat, and the initial grind to build the asset. You have to create the content, build the audience, and refine the product based on real feedback. The passive element only kicks in after you have put in the effort. But once the momentum builds, it creates a compounding snowball effect that is extraordinarily difficult to stop. Step 4, you must be incredibly patient. When you first start building permissionless leverage, it is going to feel like you are working for free. You will put hours into a project and see absolutely zero financial return. I know how demoralizing that can be. I have been there myself. The middle class typically quits at this exact point because they are conditioned to expect an immediate hourly wage for every minute of effort. But the quietly wealthy understand what author Jeff Olson calls the slight edge. They know that small, consistent actions compound over time, and the substantial financial rewards do not show up until much later, often months or even years down the line. It is the same principle as compound interest in investing, unremarkable in year 1, life-changing by year 10. Step 5, and this is a bonus step I want to add, protect your downside. I am not telling you to quit your job tomorrow and go all in on a digital product. That would be reckless. Keep your day job, use it to pay the bills, fund your ISA, and cover your living expenses. Build your permissionless leverage on the side in the evenings and at weekends. Treat it like a second job until the income from your asset consistently exceeds what you need. That way, you are never gambling with money you cannot afford to lose. Building wealth is not about being the smartest person in the room, and it certainly is not about working the longest hours. It is about changing the very mechanics of how you get paid. It is about shifting your focus from merely trading your time to building scalable assets that buy back your freedom. Your valuable time with me today. If this video gave you a wake-up call and helped you see the potential of decoupling your time from your income, please hit that subscribe button right now to join our Quiet Wealth community. We are building a space full of people who are taking back control of their time and engineering their own success, quietly and deliberately. I would absolutely love to hear from you. Drop a comment below and tell me, what is one piece of permissionless leverage or digital asset you are going to start building this month? I read every single comment, and I genuinely cannot wait to cheer you on. Give this video a like, have a fantastic week, and I will see you in the next one.